Welcome back to In Ohio Country today, and from beautiful Archbold High School in Archbold, Ohio. Joining me now is Ryan Sell. And Ryan, of course, is the FFA instructor here at Archbold. I know the Sell family very well. How'd you land up here in Archbold?
Well, I was teaching at a school back in the area, and it was just time for a change. So that's probably the best explanation that I can give for it. So,
well, let's talk about your ag background. I know your dad loves the outdoors and your involvement in agriculture. What led to you taking this on as a profession?
Well, I always kind of wanted to be a teacher, and it finally wound up coming down to Ron Brown and Chris Turner, my ag teachers, kind of pulled me off to the side, and they said, what do you want to teach when you get out in school? And I said, well, I was kind of thinking more along the lines of history because I really like the history part of it, and they said, no, you'll get bored with history. You need to be an ag teacher. So, they didn't really give me an option, so I was kind of afraid to disappoint them a little bit, so here I am.
Let's talk about that agrarian work ethic, how important it was to you and setting your foundation.
Well, and I saw that growing up as a kid. Both my grandfathers were farmers, and my mom's side of the family still has a big dairy farm back in Wapak. And so that was just what I saw growing up. I didn't know any better. That was just how things were, So, and Dad had that same mentality that he passed on to my brothers and I, and, I'm trying to do what I can to make sure the kids that I have in class now see that too.
We find in all of our travels across the Buckeye State, no matter where we go, how important it is to have FFA instructors out there that have good communication skills with their students. So how important is that to you, being able to not only be an instructor, but to be able to communicate to them what they need to do to prepare themselves for the future?
Well, and I think every situation is a little bit different when it comes to how you talk to the kids. I'm not going to get into the specifics of how I do it because it doesn't need to be on TV. But no, for the most part, it's just, you got to help kids understand sometimes that, to do the things that you need to get done, sometimes you got to do things that you don't want to do. And, just try to keep pushing and pushing and pushing to make sure that, they're getting to not necessarily where they want to be, but where they can get to.
The one thing, too, that we find is this great relationship between FFA in every high school here in the Buckeye State and the communities in which they serve. Having that relationship is important, right?
Yeah, you don't run a successful ag program without having the support of your community behind you, that's for sure. So, when you start looking at, the use of resources and things like that, you need to have that push from your community to try to keep the ag program in place. I know there's a lot of schools that, there for a while were kind of getting away from having the ag programs, and then I think they started to see the kickback from the community on making sure that these programs stayed in place, and that's why you see now that, it's pretty hard to go somewhere without one.
So when you talk about the relationship that you have in the community, you do some really interesting projects to help maintain a good relationship with the business community, especially the business ag community, right?
Right. Yeah, so one of the program that I think you're referencing here is one that we started in 2015. We have the barn here behind us where we were raising some chickens just kind of for ourselves as like a little bit of a research project, and we'd get them processed down at J&J Poultry in Holgate and then bring them up here and cook them ourselves, and we would have that as our last FFA meeting of the year. And so we noticed, we weren't utilizing the barn as much as what we wanted to. So the group of students I had then, we kind of got together and talked over the summer, and we said, what can we do to kind of, get a little bit more utilization out of the barn, because, when we had to get the barn kind of renovated a little bit to put livestock in it, and we got a lot of input from, with resources and, labor, I guess I would say, from a lot of the companies in the area. And so we wanted to be able to give back a little bit. It's vital to have that community support. And, with our program growing, there's 26 students in the program when I took over in 2007. We're right at 120 today. And so as the program grows, a lot of times so do your need for resources or for material or for equipment or whatever else. So to try to keep that door open with a lot of the companies in the area here, we just decided that we were going to start feeding them chicken. So we raise, this year we started off with 160 chickens. I think we've lost about 7 along the way. And so those will all get processed here this coming weekend down at Holgate. And we'll bring them back up and we'll cook them and we'll deliver. I think as of right now, we have just a little over 200 barbecue chicken dinners we're going to deliver to some of the businesses in our community here.
My name's Todd Gehrig. I work for Gerald Grain Center and located in Fulton and Henry counties. Grew up on a cattle farm. We had about 250 head of cattle and 900 acres of land. and I went into the ag business side and been working in the grain and feed industry for the last 25 years. I went to school nearby here at West Unity Hilltop High School, and then I ended up going to Owens Community College right after high school and got an associate's degree there in ag business. And then I ended up at main campus down at Ohio State, and I have a ag construction systems management bachelor's degree. The ag community here is quite large. That's kind of what we do in this area. We have good kids coming up through the system that, as far as Gerald Grain is concerned, we like to keep them if they want to have a place to come back home to after school or even after high school, have a good place to work and continue on a good agricultural job and supply that need for them. We're a grain, fertilizer, and feed company. We own a grain terminal and handler that's on the CSX. We are on a NS rail terminal in Delta, Ohio. And then we have in Ridgeville, we have a full service agronomy center, and right here in Archbold we have our GGC Feeds our feed location. We'd like to sponsor the fairs and the animal groups and keep everybody, try to sponsor what we can, supply feed for the animals that they got in the barn here. Just try to keep up a good working relationship with them and let them know that Gerald Grain is here to support them and hopefully, possibly even employ them in the future. Sure, it takes all different kinds. It takes kids that go to college. It takes kids that gets their dirty, and we're in that business where we can justify all that. We do a little bit of everything in the ag community, and you don't have to work for these big businesses around here. You can come home and work for a little one, or even your local co-op, and try to make a decent and great living in. I'm a little partial. I grew up in the ag world, so I think there's no other worker like us. I think that we work until the job's done with few complaints, maybe a little here and there, but with few complaints, and we know what it takes to get a job done and get it done the right way. That's correct. It has not changed. That's how it's been, how it will be, and we just built that ethic in them from early on. It was built into me. I think it's built in these kids here, and we like to support that as much as we can. I think the Archbold FFA group here has done an outstanding job. You can see behind me this livestock building that they put different livestock through. They get their hands dirty, see it all the way through. And I think Ryan's done a great job with these kids, and really like to support and encourage these kids to stay in the ag business. We need you, and it's not going to go away.
What are some of the other projects you're involved in?
Oh man, where do I start? Well, with the barn behind us here, actually,
how did the barn come to fruition?
Well, the barn obviously has been here for a while. It's just the old school wooden peg barn. Back at the beginning of the 2000s, I think it was before I arrived. But the ag teacher here at the time, his name was Ron Stuckey, who's since passed away. But he wrote a grant through the Building Our American Communities program to get new siding put on the barn. Because if I'm not mistaken, I think it was either get the barn pretty or tear the barn down. So they wanted to maintain the facility, so they got new siding and roof metal put on it. And then when I arrived here, I think it was probably about 2011 when we first started to kind of really address what we needed to do with the barn. So we had, the local telephone company sent a guy up with a boring machine. We pushed a water line underneath of it. We had a couple of electricians in the area come in and run wiring and stuff like that. We poured some concrete just to kind of get it ready for livestock. So actually on Saturday, we should have about 12 hours where there's nothing in the barn. That'll be the first time the barn's been empty for a little over a year. Wow. So,
my name is Royal Short. I'm the high school principal here at Archbold. I grew up in Archbold, went off to the University of Toledo, started a family, realized I wanted to get back to a community that supports their kids. It's a great place to raise a family. My wife and I moved back here, spent a couple years as the middle school principal, and then moved up here to the high school. Well, actually, our high school's just hit its 30-year mark. It's 30 years old, but because of great staff, custodians, maintenance men, the community, we've been able to keep it up. It looks like it's only a couple years old. We're very excited. Wrote a grant a number of years ago to put in the wind turbine. Provides quite a bit of electricity for us and takes that burden off the general fund. We're probably most excited about this barn out here that the FFA maintains and runs for us. It's a great opportunity for our kids to practice agriculture skills, do agriculture learning in an actual agriculture environment. Instead of having to simulate it in a classroom, they're able to come out here, get a little dirty, see what it's like to actually be on a farm. Doesn't take long when you move back into Archbold, you realize how important agriculture is. We're completely surrounded by farmland. We have numerous large businesses that support that industry. A lot of our community members work in that field, whether on a farm or in the supporting community businesses. You can't spend much time in Archbold and not see the importance of agriculture. Well, that's what's neat about that whole department, the whole ag department here at Archbold High School. We have students who, 4.0 students, they're headed off to Ohio State University to receive a degree in some sort of ag business. And then we have students who want to work with their hands. They walk right out with their diploma and get a job in one of our local agriculture businesses. It's a very diverse group. We really like the agriculture field because it does have opportunities for a lot of people with a lot of different skills and a lot of different interests. I talked earlier about this barn. I think that's one of the keys. We have students in our ag program who have fourth and fifth generation lived on a farm and run a farm. They know their way in and out of a barn. And then we have kids who maybe grew up in the city, haven't been in a barn until they get to their freshman ag class. So it's just a great opportunity for those kids to get the same experience that our third and fourth generation farm kids are seeing. The local businesses do so much for us. They let us know what skills they're looking for in the new ag employees. They loan us equipment. They send us guest speakers, mentors. We're able to bounce ideas off of them. So that communication with the local business is huge.
Hi, I'm Shane Beardsley. I'm from Sherwood, Ohio. I've been with Redline Equipment for a little over 7 years now. Didn't grow up on a farm, but what led me here was quite a surprise, and I took a chance, and here I am. Redline Equipment is a implement dealer. Mainly we deal with Case IH. We do deal with some smaller side notes like Cub Cadet, Grasshopper. We do have a location that deals with Kubota. We've got 2 locations that deal with Bobcat and some other various implements. When I was in high school, I went to Fairview High School over just outside of Sherwood. I did go through FFA, and one of the things I didn't realize was, it's not just for kids and farming. And one thing that I did come across is probably one of my most beneficial classes that I use in life even today. Archbold High School, we realize here at Redline that, these are our customers' kids and future customers themselves, and possibly future Redliners. And anything we can do to support them at the fairs or school or wherever they need help, we're here to do whatever they need. We actually just hired a service tech there here in Archbold. He's a young guy out of Fort County. Went there for diesel ag, and we decided to give him a shot. And we realized that our future is with these guys that are passionate about the business and passionate about what we do and what they do in the community. And we decided to concentrate on them and give them a shot and promote our business. Growing up, I realized that farming was a big part of the business in this world. And when my parents, they would go to work, the people that actually watched me while they was working, they owned a farm. And I guess that's where I started my passion for farming. I didn't realize that I was going to be in farming when I got older. And that as a kid, I realized that they worked long hours and days, and again, they don't stop until the work is done. And a lot of times these windows of getting that work done is getting shorter and shorter, and they realize that, and we realize that too, and that's why we're here for them and to make sure they get what they need. I'd like to thank the Archbold FFA and surrounding FFA schools that promote agriculture and promote us, and as well as we try to promote them, and then all the things that they do to keep kids in agriculture. And they're the future of this world, and agriculture is the main soul of this world, and without them we would be lost.
Yes, I think the kids that see that there are office jobs in agriculture, I think that's one of the first myths that we break. A lot of kids join the FFA or the ag department, and they're not sure that you need to go to college. Well, there are a whole lot of of jobs that require a college education or more formal training, and then there's some that don't. Some of our students leave, join the workforce, and realize that they want to maybe move up or change careers, and they go back to school. So I think it's great that we just have those 3 or 4 pathways out of that department. So we're very excited. Every year, Mr. Sell's classes fill up very quickly on registration day. It's a tribute to word of mouth getting out that the classes are important, they're valuable, they teach life skills right from day one.
Right. Let's talk about the administration. Let's talk about the cooperation that you have to have from your board members here in Archbold, as well as the other teachers, right?
Right, for sure. And, having a good administration is really vital to running an ag program, too, because they understand that, there's going to be some time missed, either, from the teacher for sure, but also from a lot of the students, that to be involved. A lot of times those things happen during the school day, and there's nothing we can do about that. If you're going to get your students to be, good FFA members or to be involved FFA members, then, that comes with a loss of class time sometimes.
First of all, we'd like to thank the Board of Education, because maintaining this barn here and some of the land behind it is an expense. They see the value in it. They continue to allow us to make upgrades. You can see the siding, different things around here. They really take good care of us. The teachers also realize that to run a great ag program, sometimes the ag kids have to be gone. They go to a lot of contests, a lot of agriculture contests. They go to different barns, soil judging, things like that. So our teachers understand the importance of it and are very forgiving of Mr. Sell and all of his field trips.
But yeah, and a lot of it also just comes down to supporting some of the initiatives that we want to do with getting the barn cleaned up and ready to go. Or, we have a 2.5 acre field, sometimes we got to pull kids out of class to go and do a little bit of work out there or something like that. So just understanding that, an ag program is not like having a regular class. There's just so many other moving parts to it that, you don't get bored, that's for sure.
I'm Callie Fry. I'm a senior here at Archbold, and I'm serving as the chapter president for this coming year.
Bailey Lumbreezer, a sophomore.
My name is Cole Plasman. I'm a junior at Archbold.
So I live on a farm just south of town here. We are a crop production farm, and I've grown up on that farm all my life. My grandpa farmed. Now it's my dad and brother taking over, and it really set the foundation for 4-H and FFA involvement. Obviously, I started in 4-H long before I got into FFA, but FFA is where I've really taken off in agriculture and set the foundation for my future career.
I grew up on a farm. My grandpa is a farmer. He farms with one of our uncles, and then we own a bunch of horses. We do a lot of like the speed events, so like barrel racing, pole bending, 4-H. My brother's in high school, our junior high rodeo. My grandpa's always had horses, like grew up on horses, and then my dad and my aunt kind of got into it, so then we kind of got born into it. And there's about 13 horses, and they range from like normal sized horses to miniature ponies. I ride a couple of them. I feed them, water them, pick their stalls, turn them out in the morning and bring them back into the barn at night.
Growing up on a farm, you learn pretty quickly that it takes hard work to run a farm. My family started a cattle operation probably about 15 years ago, I'd say, and we've been running that ever since, growing every single year. That's just a family-run operation. I have 5 members in my family. The base of the operations run at my grandpa's house and his barn, and he helps us out a lot with chores and stuff. We have our own hay operation, so we'll bale our own hay and plant our own hay, harvest it all. Then with grain, we do the beans, the corn, wheat, all that, get our own straw.
So on the farm, I don't run the equipment. I'm more of driving people around from field to field, or helping move equipment home when they need rides, or taking meals to the field. And then I also have goats. That's how I earned my state degree this past spring. And there I'm bathing, clipping, taking care of hooves, feeding, watering, cleaning pens. Basically whatever needs done, I'm getting it done.
We were given the option to be in an ag class in 7th and 8th grade, and I regret every day not doing it in 7th and 8th grade, but I joined it my freshman year, knew right off the bat that I was going to do it when I got into high school, and I've just enjoyed it every year. I've been in 4-H for about 8, this will be coming into my 8th year, and I've just enjoyed every minute of it. We get to do so many different opportunities like contests or You get to compete at the state fair for horses if you qualify, and so many different opportunities of meeting new people and experiences that just are amazing to experience.
I've been in 4-H for about 11 years now, so I'd say my FFA career started with that. Then I was given the opportunity to join FFA in 7th grade, and that was a really good opportunity for me. It showed me what I'm going to learn in life in FFA. I became the FFA Sentinel, and since then I've just been trying to do the best I can in my role.
So as I said before, I'm a senior, so this next fall I'll be attending Ohio State Wooster to major in ag business. And like I said, FFA really set the foundation for that. Being in agriculture every day in class really gave me the idea that I don't want to go without agriculture for the rest of my life. So definitely something I want to stick with.
It's really interesting to see some of the people that didn't grow up on a farm or don't have an ag background, and then see how well that they can do in an ag class or ag setting. A lot of them are born in town or something, and then they can go to competitions or judging competitions and do really, really well just from learning stuff in the class.
The Ag Misses Barbecue is just say thank you to all the businesses in the community, trying to give back to them for everything that they give to us. Our livestock science class will raise the chickens out here in the barn, and then we'll butcher them over at Holgate, and then we will cook them ourselves and set them all up and deliver them personally. I'm not certain what I want to do, but I know I want to do something agriculture related.
So I became chapter president because through 4-H I had lots of leadership positions, and then as a freshman in FFA I had to push myself to step outside of my comfort zone because a lot of my friends did not want to do the contests like I did. So I guess just from day one in FFA I took off meeting new people, and that made me friends with upperclassmen who were current officers. And then when the opportunity came up, I decided to take the position as chapter president. It's a lot of fun getting to grow closer to the underclassmen now that I'm a senior, and I'm getting to know a lot of people I wouldn't have otherwise known.
My future is, I'm not extremely quite sure yet. I've thought about taking over the farm and farming for my grandpa, or going to college and getting a degree in some type of agricultural thing. I know that my FFA or ag background here at Archbold will definitely help with that.
Yeah. So high schoolers really need to be building relationships with these agricultural businesses around the community because it really sets a foundation for your career. Actually, a few weeks ago, I went and job shadowed with another employee from Gerald Grain, as we interviewed earlier. And whether you want to go into agriculture or not, if you want to go job shadow those people for a day, they know the value of hard work, and they can really give you an idea if you want to be in agriculture for a career or not. And even if you don't, it's a great stepping stone to earn money while you're in college or something like that.
If somebody were to come up to me and ask why would I want to be an FFA, or why would you join an ag class, I would tell them that it'd be a great experience. You'd learn a lot of different things that you didn't think that would be important in your everyday lifestyle, or it'd give you another opportunity as to when you graduate, different opportunities that you can go into for a career, things you wouldn't think about doing, but then realizing that you're either really good at it or you really enjoyed learning about it or doing it.
So I would tell anyone to join FFA. It teaches you the value of hard work, and it gives you those leadership skills that are so important to have after high school and after you leave those doors on graduation day. But building that relationship around the community, those ag businesses do so much for us, and you get to know great people, and again, just the value of hard work that they give.
Well, you come from a rural background, obviously, an ag background. But there are a lot of students that you teach that have no experience on the farm whatsoever.
Well, and regardless of whether somebody grows up having that agricultural background or not, I don't think is terribly as important as understanding work ethic. So if I can't instill anything else in my students through their time in my program, I want them to understand that you have to work hard for what you want. And it doesn't really matter what that winds up being. Obviously my goal is for all the students that leave my program to wind up working in the ag industry, but I also understand that's not realistic. So, my thing is just, get what you want. Be happy with what you have. Be happy with the life that you want to build for yourself, but be ready to work for it.
One of the things too is the skills that come out of being a part of an FFA program is extremely vital and important, because those skills can help take you to the next level regardless, as you said, if you're in agriculture or not. Communication skills, for example.
Right, for sure, yeah. And we focus on those things. We kind of mix that throughout our entire curriculum. A lot of what they call soft skills. A lot of the technical skills the kids will get while they're in the program are going to translate into careers for some of them, but a lot of them won't, and that's okay. My thing is, and I tell the kids this a lot of time in class too, I'm not so much worried about the product that you produce as much as I am the process you go through to try to get that product. Some kids are just going to be a little bit more gifted in some areas than others, but I want everybody to work hard.
Let's finish talking about FFA as a whole, not only here in the Buckeye State, but how important it is to the future of America.
Well, people are always going to need to eat, and that's not going away with world population boom expected over the next 15 or 20 years. We're going to have to try to figure out how to do more with less. And that's where I think a lot of this comes in. A lot of ag programs are focused on, like the biotechnology area of things, trying to, just push the limits on science a little bit more to get those kids interested in pursuing that as a career. And really, I think that's what we should be trying to do as ag programs, is not necessarily train kids for their next career, but at least help them identify what that career wants to be.
Well, FFA is a great program to get started in any endeavor that you choose after high school. Ryan Sell, ag instructor up here at beautiful Archbold High School. If people want more information about your program and what you guys are doing up here, well, what's your website and social media as well?
We do have a Facebook page. I think we're also on Instagram. But you can link anything that you need to find from us from the high school's website.
You want to give a plug to your dad and your family and your brothers down in Wapakoneta?
No.
Well, I will. To Nathan Sell, to Eric Sell, to Isaac Sell, the entire Sell family, thanks for this young man and what he does up here for all the young minds going through Archbold High School. Ryan, thanks for joining us.
Thanks for having us.
And we'll be back with more in Ohio Country today right after this.